Hi, my name is Riley Allen. This is my review of Season 2, Episode 6 of The Walking Dead titled Secrets. The title refers to Lori's pregnancy, the walkers in the barn, Herschel wanting to kick the group off, and I guess Andrea and Shane's new relationship. So, Jimmy, Shane, and Rick coordinate the search grids and whatnot. And I just find it hilarious that Jimmy's, hanging out with Rick and Shane. I know he's only there because he knows the area well, but it's still funny as hell to picture that guy in the same scene as those two dudes. So, Maggie basically tries to bribe Glenn not to tell the group about the walkers in the barn with some peaches, which he goes on to hand to everybody. Shooting... Shane offers to have a shooting class, which Patricia and Beth go to, along with Jimmy, because Herschel doesn't like it, but Otis was the only one that knew how to shoot. And apparently, Lee later learned that Herschel does too. Anyway. Carl steals a gun, and they eventually decide, yeah, he's gotta learn anyway. He's in trouble, but he's gotta learn anyway. So, they take him and everybody. We're gonna take Glenn, but he gets out of it by saying he's got to help Dale. But Dale, overhearing this, covers for Glenn yeah, he's got to help me. And then he proceeds to ask Glenn what the hell he's doing and what the hell's going on. And Glenn, kind of messes around with it, and Dale says, "Don't be so dramatic. Spit it out. Laura's pregnant and there's walkers in the barn." And Dale's face was, okay, maybe you could be a little more dramatic. I swear to God, Jeffrey DeMunn's facial expressions in this show. It's like everything Dale hears is a goddamn shock to the system, and he's one shocking sentence away from a heart attack. So Andrea does good in the shooting class, so, Shane takes her to an advanced one. He kind of gets real too into it by, throwing Amy's name out there, which, dude, come on. I think in universe time, it's been, at most a month, maybe, since she's died. And that's at most. Anyway, so they go to Wiltshire Estates or something like that, or what's supposed to be the comic equivalent of that, and they try to search for Sophia, but they can't do it. This is also a test for Shane to see how she would work under pressure, because that's what he was trying to do, getting Amy's name in there. Her gun ends up jamming, but she fixes it, and headshot after headshot after headshot, and then they start a relationship. And decide to get spicy. Lori sends Glenn out for some abortion pills. So he and Maggie go there, and they, again, further the argument about the walkers in the barn. Maggie kind of, turns around real quick because a walker nearly gets her, but Glenn, the absolute goat, kills the walker, saves her. And again, goat friendship right there. He also managed to get prenatal vitamins just in case Lori doesn't want the abortion pills. You gotta love Glenn. Maggie is very pissed and, kind of screams at Lori a little bit, but honestly, I understand it. She nearly died, and she needs something to be angry at, so she chooses Lori. I'm not saying her anger at Lori is right, because they did volunteer for this. They did know the risks, or at least Glenn sure did. But, I do understand in the situation, she nearly died, she would be angry, and Lori was there. And they kind of were there just for the abortion pills, and the main one, so, yeah. So, Glenn has a really good conversation with Lori where, he confirms their friendship, which, side note, that is an underrated friendship. I just love I love that conversation, And he's again trying to convince her to tell Rick, at least so she wouldn't have to make the decision alone, and then hands her the prenatal vitamins. She does take the pills, only to immediately regret it and throw it up. Unfortunately, Rick spots them. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Just a bit. So the first thing in the episode is we see Patricia feeding chickens to the walkers in the barn. We also have a conversation between Lori and Herschel where she finds out that Herschel thinks they're all leaving. So she has an argument with Rick about secrets and whatnot, which is funny as hell, all things considered. So, and then when Andrea and Dale come back from the estate or whatever, Dale somehow immediately knows what the hell went between Andrea and Shane, because he's like, and then starts threatening, kind of telling Shane, yeah, you should go on and get. And he doesn't really agree. Dale points out that he was there when he pointed a gun at Rick. And I just love how Shane basically, I guess, really doubled down for Dale. Like, if you thought I'd kill my brother, my best friend, the hell you think I'm going to do to a guy I don't even like? Which absolutely does not clear suspicion. And I just love that Dale's absolutely taking no shit. Yeah. Otis died a hero, Yeah, so you said. Man, you can't get shit past Dale. There was a conversation between Andrea and Daryl where she apologized, and he says, if you're gonna shoot me again, you best pray I'm dead. Dale has a conversation with Lori about the pregnancy, and she admits that she doesn't know if it'd be worth it because she can't guarantee that the child will live to be as old as Dale, which I think is kind of a bullshit cope thing for her, because even in the regular world, that's not a guarantee to live as old as what Dale said he was. Said he was 62. That's not a guarantee. Shit could happen. Lightning can strike. I mean, it's rare, but, lightning could strike, you could die. Car crash could happen, you could die. Sickness, regular sickness, you could die. It's kind of like Herschel's line from season 3. You walk outside, you could die. You breathe, you could die. So, I mean, I understand where Lori is coming from in this situation, but I don't think she really is thinking it through in the sense that, yeah, the baby might not live, but you're never guaranteed to live. In that sense. Overall, it was a good conversation, because he sympathized. He, basically said, yeah. He tried not to throw Glenn under the bus, by mentioning how his wife was once pregnant and she couldn't, be around meat because that's kind of what set Lori off. She smelled cooking meat. But, Lori knew that it was about Glenn. And I do love that she also kind of apologized to Glenn because she shouldn't have put that on him, Then, finally, the conversation between her and Rick. I love that Rick was not, screaming mad, but he was angry, and I do love one of the things that made him angry was that she, I guess, thought that he would try to make her have a baby she didn't want. Because that was one of the things I was mad about. You thought I'd make you have a baby you didn't want? It was also the thought that she went through it without talking to him, and the thought that he'd make her have a baby she didn't want. This whole conversation, it was kind of a bit of a rehash plus some of Dale and Lori's conversation. Throwing in Carl into there. Again, though, what happened to Carl was really a freak accident. I'm just gonna say that. I understand why she's worried, but, What happened to Carl was like a once in a million type shit. Any other time, Carl's in the woods with Shane and Rick, and they go back to the highway fine. In that instance. Also, back to the, she doesn't know if the baby's gonna live as old as, Dale. And while, yes, it's true, I just love that of the entire camp, the only people who are still alive are the baby, Judith, Maggie, Carol, and Daryl, and Rick. So, yeah. So she finally admits to Rick that she slept with Shane, and he's like, yeah, I know. And he's like, yeah, I know. I think I know it's known. But she's like, okay. You know about Otis? You just coping with that too. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I also love, there was also a conversation between Maggie and Glenn where she kind of did admit that she kind of really likes him, and says she can't stand him turning into, one of them, and that all they see him as is walker bait, which is kind of not really untrue. You got a dangerous mission and surrounded by walkers. Let's get Glenn on that. Got Walker in the well. Let's get Glenn on that. Granted, I don't think they'd force him to do anything if he said no, but at the same time, you know, it's there. Also, she says her 3 of the most important people became she's already lost 3 of the most important people. I'm trying to think. Her mother, her stepmother, and her stepbrother? Is that what it is? I know, like, according to the, wiki or whatever, there's technically Arnold Green, who's her cousin. But, like, it's never even confirmed, and I'm pretty sure when they clear out the barn, they only make a grave for Annette, Sean, and Sophia. So, like, poor cousin Arnold, if he actually is really a character. Yeah, he was her cousin, but, you know, we didn't really like him. You can burn him with the other walkers. Yeah. Anyway. Overall, I'm going to give this episode a solid 8 out of 10. I'm excited to... It's one of those episodes, it makes me excited for the next one, especially from exactly how it ended on that cliffhanger of the conversation. Thanks for watching the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next video.